Good friend Gerard Fabiano, and
this guy with a scarf.
this guy who I grew up vaguely close to geographically, and Dan Musser.
Yeah. Close proximity. But we both appreciate where we're from, which is the best state in the universe. Musser has a Courser. Now he's casting a Thoughtseize. And now a Sorin with Fabiano at 1 and Musser at 20. Musser's going to tick down that Sorin, put a Vampire into play. And Fabiano looks like he's going to need a good draw stab now that Musser's cleared a path.
Gerard's got a ton of mana. I mean, Gerard might be at 1, but depending on the contents of his hand, he might be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, he does have Ugins to draw to, 2 of them. He wants to draw another card. How about another one? Nope. None of those are going to get the job done. Dan Musser going to win game number 1 here over Gerard Fabiano. Abzan midrange up a game here over Sultai Control. And you get to represent New Jersey with Gerard's sideboard.
A Sultai Charm, 2 copies of Tasigur, 2 Feed the Clan, Pelucranos, 2 copies of Negate, he Thoughtseize, a Drown in Sorrow, 2 copies of Rashasha Death Dealer, 2 Frigga's Cure, and a Slumguard, the Drifting Death. I think that I like, honestly, close to nothing in the sideboard. I mean, the Sultai Charm and the Thoughtseize, I suppose the Negates if you're worried about Planeswalkers, but I think Gerard should keep it pretty close to what it is right now.
Musser's side of things, he's got 3 Drowned in Sorrows, 3 Glare of Heresies, 2 Read the Bones, and a Johnny Mentor of Heroes, a Liliana Vest, an Unravel the Aether, a Bile Blight, Nutter End, a Tasigur of his own, and a Murderous Cut. Read the Bones is a pretty easy addition, I think, here. I like the 2 Planeswalkers here, a Johnny and a Liliana as well. It's kind of unpredictable what Gerard is up to, but those cards are pretty universally good against a control deck.
Again, in these kind of matchups, Dan gets a sideboard really nicely into a card advantage deck with 4 Abzan Charms, 4 Read the Bones, 4 copies of Thoughtseize, and some Planeswalkers to power him through. So he becomes a lot less reliant on his creatures post-board. I mean, if they stick and Gerard can't kill him, that's great. But he has a primary game plan of just trying to out-card advantage Gerard, and I think Dan's going to go down that road.
Patrick Chapin displayed his deck-building prowess quite a bit during his Pro Tour win when he got the job done with Abzan. He's a big fan of Abzan as well in the current standard format, and you can learn more about how to build decks with him in the remastering of Next Level Magic.
This is a 2015 edition with new card examples and some new text. The book has also been sold out in all forms in paperback for nearly a year now. So if you've been waiting for a paperback edition, this is a great opportunity to pick it up. You can also get it on the ebook at starcgames.com/NLM.
Chapin really put together some nice deck lists with these brand new Fate Reforged cards, and you can expect tomorrow morning his breakdown of what's happened here this weekend.
That's another crazy thing. How does he turn around these opens so fast? It's just ready to go on Monday.
Don't know how he does it.
And he's busy enough that I know that he's not spending his weekend just watching the open. He's got other things going on.
The guy loves Magic.
It's possible that he doesn't sleep.
Well, you know, you can get 4 hours in and still be functional.
For a little while.
Yeah. You get 4 hours one day, like 8 the next.
I don't think that could be the plan.
You don't think that's good?
No.
Because on the balance, you're averaging 6 then? I think you might be all right.
Well,
I operate on 6 hours of sleep each day.
I don't know if you can necessarily do it that way, because let's say you were awake for 2 hours and then slept for an hour every day. You would be totaling 8 hours of sleep a day, but I think you would go crazy. So I don't know if you can quite measure it the way you're describing.
Can we try for a week and see what happens?
Sure. We need to have someone monitor the experiment.
Awake 2 hours, sleep for 1?
Yeah, just repeat until... Yep, we got a day and a half in, and we have to call it.
Here is a Thoughtseize from Gerard. Courser of Krufix, Siege, Rhino. Actually, 2 coursers, along with Sorin and Elspeth. And a couple of lands here for Dan. So a pretty powerful hand, plenty to do, and Courser to set it all up.
This is a solid hand. I'm sure Gerard would love to take the Courser, but I think that's off the table with Dan having a second one, unless he's willing to use a kill spell or another Thoughtseize. The rest of this hand's hard to pick apart. So I think Gerard's best line of play is see if he can find an answer to both of these coursers.
Another Thoughtseize will take care of both coursers, so there you go.
Yep, perfect. Now Dan left with a pretty slow and wieldy hand, which plays right into Gerard's game plan.
Temple of Silence coming to play here. Hero's Downfall was the draw from Musser. Leaves his card on top very quickly before passing the turn back. Both of these gentlemen did win Open Series events last year. We saw Fabiano get the job done when we were in Worcester, beat Reed Duke in the finals, and Musser won the Legacy Open at the Season 3 Invitational, beating Ross Merriam in the finals.
The marathon affair.
Oh, yeah. Satyr Wayfinder's going to turn over a couple of cards here. Murderous Cut, another Wayfinder. Interpret the signs, and a Swamp that'll go to the hand.
Seeing some people interpreting the signs this weekend. Gerard's got one. Kurt Spies has one in his blue-black control list.
Agent Sullivan likes that card as one of them. Blue-black control quite a bit. Here is a Forest. And now there is a Read the Bones. That's the kind of card you got to love in this matchup if you are Dan.
This is the game plan here post-board, is use these alongside Obzon Charm to set up Planeswalkers, prevent Gerard from getting anything of substance into play, using cards like Hero's Downfall to keep Gerard off of Planeswalkers of his own, and become less reliant on your creatures, because Gerard's deck is probably flush with pieces of individual spot removal and Crux of Fate. So the more you can get away from that, the better.
Pluto Delta does get sacrificed. Fabiano going to search up an island very quickly. And now there is a Kiora, the Crashing Wave. Gerard going to take that down very fast. Get some value out of that. Get into the red zone. We'll see if he has another land to play, and it looks like he does not.
And against an empty board, he knows that, you know, Kiora may not be long for this world regardless because of Hero's Downfall and similar effects. So Gerard deciding to get the value in right now. If Dan adds to the board, maybe Gerard will start plussing instead, but I think he's looking at this Kiora as just a source of temporary card advantage and not a long-term game plan.
Here's a Sorin. A Vampire token on the way. And we will head back to Gerard. So both players with powerful 4-mana Planeswalkers. And Kiora will tick up here. There is Pluto Delta. And now Hero's Downfall will take care of the Sorin. Gerard comfortable using that removal spell on that Planeswalker, though we do know that Musser does have a copy of Elspeth in hand.
Gerard's aware of it too, but Dan's still on 4 mana, and Gerard with a healthy amount of counter spells in his deck.
There is an island. And now there's Tassiger. So a little delve action here. We'll make that a little bit cheaper. And the big 4/5 basically demands an answer immediately.
It also means you have to be really careful about the way in which you delve.
Yes.
Because Gerard wants to get rid of basically the spells he's least interested in getting back with Tassiger. Normally you see people just throw lands in the graveyard, but with this card you actually want to get rid of your worst cards first.
Here's Thoughtseize. Fabiano with his Rakshas's Secret in hand. I get to keep one of those. There is a Temple. Musser going to leave that card on top. See, he is staring at a Hero's Downfall here. He's going to use that now to take care of Tassiger. A card that demands a removal spell.
But it means that Kiora is still sticking around for now.
Kiora looks like it might go up. Gerard a little unsure at this point. Looks like he's going to start by casting Rakshas's Secret, which means Musser will have to discard 2, and Gerard gets to turn over 2 cards. He'll discard a Siege Rhino and an Elspeth. I wonder what that last card is.
Gerard might be onto something here with this card. I mean, we've had it cast a couple times now in the mid-range matchups. We've seen Mind Rot be good before against ramp decks and some other mid-range strategies, and whenever it's been cast, it's been pretty good.
3 mana, Read them Bones. Take a look at the top 2, Obzon Charm among them. Musser going to decide if he has any interest in keeping either one of these cards. The answer is no. He'll take 2 mystery cards instead. There is a Windswept Teeth. And we will go back Fabiano's way. Fabiano will draw. Fabiano currently with the best card in play there in the Kiora.
And Dan's running out of time because his deck is not very well set up to answer a Kiora emblem.
Yeah. There's Thoughtseize. Musser may have a response here. He'll show you an Obzon Charm and a Siege Rhino.
It's an interesting spot here. I mean, Gerard can take the Siege Rhino, hope that Dan doesn't find a threat or a Hero's Downfall off the Obzon Charm, and then get to a Kiora emblem. or he could take the Abzan Charm and say, try to beat me with a Siege Rhino and give up on generating a Kiora emblem, at least for the time being.
Tough decision, to be sure. He's going to take the Charm. Leave him with the Rhino. Pretty straightforward with what that does. Pass the turn back. Musser will draw. There is a Rhino.
It's a big draw set for Gerard. If he finds a removal spell, a big card drawing effect, he's in excellent shape.
Yeah. If not, he might have to shift gears with the Kiora.
Well, he can still hold it down for a little bit here because the Vampire token has to go after Kiora for a little bit.
Not a removal spell, Satyr Wayfinder instead. Yeah, a couple of copies of dig through time there. That's what Gerard was looking for, negate as well. He'll be left with a Llanowar Waste that'll come into play. The reveals there, of course, Satyr Wayfinder are random, but doesn't feel like it then.
No, I mean, any of those card drawing spells, I mean, Gerard's graveyard is completely stacked. Those dig through times could have been incredible right there.
Yeah, Siege Rhino right up the top of the deck there for Musser yet again, excuse me. Now Fabiano's going to get in the red zone, which I smell a Crux of Fate. That's exactly what it is.
I would hope so.
Yep. And that's very timely there for Gerard, too, because now he gets to go back to this Kiora game plan.
Exactly. I mean, it kind of had to be Crux of Fate. Now, with Dan having a third threat, even drawing a random removal spell wouldn't have really helped Gerard that much. And now we're, again, 2 turns away from getting that to that Kiora emblem.
Musser with just a Thoughtseize in hand. He'll draw. He's going to need to be a good one, and it is. It is a hero's downfall. Look at these two go back and forth. Back to Musser we go. He'll play Sandsep Citadel, pass the turn back. There's an Opulent Palace. Little draw go action here for both players.
I think from here, Gerard's got the more powerful deck.
That'll be a display of that. There is an Ugin.
Speaking of which, I mean, I wasn't saying it had to be Ugin necessarily, but that'll play.
That elevator goes right on up. Musser will take 3, and now he's got to find an answer to the Spirit Dragon. And perhaps Abzan Charm will help. Musser has been stuck with his Thoughtseize in hand as well. Three mana. Courser's not bad. Take a look at the top card, Abzan Charm. This is a temple. Abzan Charm going to go to the bottom. Wants to get closer to an answer. Looking for a hero's downfall. Top card's Windswept Teeth. Does have a Windswept Teeth in play, so he can sacrifice and shuffle that one on top of his deck away. We'll go back to Fabiano. He'll play a Temple of Malady. Take a look at the top card. It's going to stay on top. Trying to figure out how he wants to use Ugin here. He says, I will tick it up, and then I'll Bile-Blight that away.
Yeah, this is sort of the best of both worlds here for Gerard.
It really
because
is.
If he wanted to minus to get rid of the Courser, then he's a couple turns away from going ultimate. If he pluses, then the Courser can attack Ugin and keep Gerard off of doing so. So being able to plus while getting the Courser off the table is great.
Upkeep, Musser's going to sacrifice that Windswept Teeth. Hope to peel away to get that Ugin off the table. See what he draws. Hero's downfall off the top. Okay. He's still in it. Back to draw go we go. Fabiano will draw. Ugin again.
Sure.
Musser draws. Is that a Siege Rhino, perhaps? It is. Fabiano's down to 3. Musser's up to 10.
And this is going to require some answer from Gerard.
Yes. I mean, he does have Ugin on the table to minus. But now Gerard might be in more trouble than he thinks.
You can see the look on Gerard's face here of a little bit of frustration setting in.
For sure. Thoughtseize takes a card away. It was a Sultai Charm. Musser will draw. Looks like he's ticking up. This play again, Hero's Downfall. Get that off of the table. Can Musser find a way to win yet again? He wants to read Ugin. Gerard will get to game 7. I would kill that if you could. And he has an Ajani.
All right, this is some spins and Siege Rhino.
Yeah, this is a backdoor way to get there. Elevator's going up. Take a look. He's going to slow roll himself just a little bit here. Thoughtseize among those cards. Elspeth, too. Elspeth is really good, but it's not better than Ugin. Back to Gerard we go. Yeah, he's going to ultimate that bad boy. 7 life, 7 cards, maybe 7 permanents.
The second Ugin ultimate of the tournament.
Yep, that's true. Fabiano wants to make sure he knows how his Planeswalker works. Those permanents are going to come into play, Ashiok among them. We know Gerard loves that card. There's a Temple too. See how he wants to stack these with Satyr Wayfinder and the Temple. So he'll let the Wayfinder resolve first, which means Urborg will go to the hand. The rest of those cards will go to the graveyard. Now the Temple Scry. Top card goes to the bottom very quickly here for Fabiano. And now Ashiok, as that ticks up, turns over 3 cards. Fabiano tapping some mana here to cast now a Dig Through Time. You have to imagine it's pretty hard to lose when you ultimate Ugin.
Yeah, I mean, Gerard was in a bit of a danger zone there, as Siege Rhino would have killed him. But now at 10, a lot of resources to work with. Ugin still in play, Ashiok in play.
Though it doesn't seem as though Fabiano has a very large deck at this point. He's gone through a lot of cards. You saw the card removed from Ashiok is Tasigur.
Keep in mind, he also gets to kill Dan in 2 turns.
Sure.
So he doesn't really have to hold down the fort for very long. The Elspeth that Musser found doesn't matter too much.
And life total is high enough that Siege Rhino is not out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think Gerard is in good shape here.
Dig Through Time done resolving. Fabiano found 2 cards that he likes. And now it's the Drifty D, Silumgar.
And that certainly helps a lot against Elspeth.
That sure does.
Also sets up a kill for next turn.
Musser going to take a look at a couple cards here with the Johnny. Elspeth is what he's found. Is there a way for Musser to get back into this one? A little bit of math here, and he's going to concede that game. Gerard Fabiano going to win that back and forth marathon affair. Sending it to game 3 here against Dan Musser. Sultai control and Abzan mid-range. They've got about 12 minutes to try to get it done in. It's going to be tough.
This is really important because a win here should lock one of these players for the top 8. Should be double draw territory.
Yep.
At X1 and 1, in the event of a draw with 2 rounds to go, things can still go awry for both players. You lose twice, and that could be it.
Okay. So we'll see if they can get it done here. They have to quickly sideboard and get ready for game number 3. But while we wait, we'll talk about Season 2 of the Open Series. I know it's a little bit away here, but Season 1, going to be a little bit longer tilt. Season 2, if you haven't seen it, we'll start things up in Syracuse.
It's going to be short, and it's going to be very standard-oriented with Syracuse, Providence, going to your original hometown of Cleveland, and then to your current hometown of Seattle, beginning of May. Then after that, we go to Dallas again for Standard Open Series. It'll be you and Matthias in the booth for that one. Worcester for a Legacy Open the weekend after that. And then 2 weekends after that, the Season 2 Invitational at Columbus, Ohio. The Origins Game Fair, Modern and Standard will be the invitational formats. With a Modern Open Series attached, the 3 of us will be in the booth.
Season 2 was made for me.
Yes. Still no Jersey trips.
Oh, Season 3 Invitational. Get out of here.
I know, but we've been going, 4 or 5 times a year.
Well, maybe dial it back a little bit. Go to a real place with real stuff. What do you think? That's just my opinion. One man's opinion. One man's opinion. Don't want to come off too harsh there. Even though I was under attack about 20 minutes ago.
New Jersey is empirically the best place to live in the country.
Debatable.
Well, it depends what you care, how much you care about, say, how much money you make when you live there, or what the education levels are like, or its safety, or its proximity to large cities, or its health care, or it just depends what metrics you care about.
Don't care about any of that
if
stuff.
If you care about the metrics that actually matter,
don't care about any of that stuff.
Empirically, the best place to live.
All right. Fair enough. one man's opinion. Fabiano has selected
It's
to...
actually science's opinion.
Fabiano has selected to draw, actually.
All right. Settle
No, I take
in.
that back. I apologize. Gerard won that game.
Okay.
I apologize. Dan's choosing to play.
We've seen some drawing in the standard format in these long matchups, you know. Jerry Thompson has drawn in the Obzon mid-range mirror match.
Oh, yes. Jerry looking for any excuse to draw first, however.
I am too, actually. For someone who beats down, I like to draw first a lot.
It is a Thoughtseize. Obzon Charm, Read the Bones. And a Johnny, along with 3 lands there in Caves of Coilos, Windswept Heath, and Temple of Silence. Johnny's going to bite the dust. Fabiano with a Temple, a little Scry. These players are going to try to play some speed magic here. They're not interested in a draw. As you mentioned, a win will basically lock them into the top 8.
Yeah. I mean, a draw is not the end of the world, but I'm sure both these players would like to lock it up.
Read the Bones is where Musser will start. He's happy with both of those cards. Pass the turn back over to Fabiano. Seder Wayfinder here for Gerard. Will turn over a couple of cards. Yapamaya Coast, a Swamp, 2 Temples, and Malady. The rest of those cards will go to the graveyard. There is the Temple. Take a look at the top card. That one's going to stay on top. We'll go back to Musser. Musser draws a Forest. There's a Temple. Take a look at the top card. Stays on top very quickly. We'll go back to Fabiano.
See, the pace of play is definitely picked up on both sides.
The beatdowns will begin. Seder Wayfinder comes on in. Temple of Mystery here for Gerard. That card will stay on top. Pass that turn back over to Musser. Musser going to cast Obzon Charm. He wants 2 cards at the expense of 2 life. He's down to 15. And there is another Temple. Card will stay on top yet again. And Fabiano will play a Sultai Charm, so he wants 2 cards, but he'll have to discard 1.
Gerard's deck is so good at facilitating Delve. I mean, he could just play any of the Delve cards that he wants.
Dig Through Time is very easy for him to cast.
Yep. Murderous Cut, Treasure Cruise, his Tassiker. I mean, it's all so efficient.
Using his graveyard as a resource and an extension of his hand. That's what he's done here. Seder Wayfinder looks really honestly out of place in his deck, but for what he's trying to accomplish, it makes sense. There's another one. Dig Through Time, Thoughtseize, Dig Through Time, Temple. Fabiano's trying to figure out what land he wants to play. 7.5 minutes to go. Going to sacrifice the Polluted Delta, go a little bit lower to get a land out of his deck. Add another card to the graveyard as well. There is a Swamp. We'll see what his follow-up's going to be. That'll be another Seder Wayfinder. Turn over a couple of cards, Dig Through Time, an Island, a Murderous Cut, and a Rakshasa Death Dealer.
So he's brought in the Death Dealers out of the board.
Yep.
Probably anticipating that Dan would not have a lot of creature removal in his deck.
Now Gerard considering playing Tassiger, but he wants to look over his graveyard, and he will deploy the 4/5. Gonna delve away a few things here, man. Obzon Charm's gonna get that thing off the table real fast.
I can appreciate Gerard's reservation about casting the Tassiger just because it's almost certain to just die.
Yeah.
And Dan was probably not doing anything with his mana either, anyway, but I think you got to get through it.
Elspeth time. 3 soldiers. See if Fabiano has an answer to the Sun's champion. He'll start by playing a Temple. Top card will become the bottom one. There's a Hero's Downfall. That'll clear that up. 3 soldiers left behind, however. See where Musser wants to move forward here. Again, those 3 soldiers. Now he's reaching for some mana. And it's a Siege Rhino. That'll be taken care of by Disdainful Stroke.
And if Gerard's willing to aggressively Disdainful Stroke there, I think he knows that Dan's hand is probably light on real action.
Yeah. Gerard wants to take the opportunity to cast Interpret the Signs.
Ugin.
Well, Gerard's found something he wants to leave on top. Okay. Drifted E's not bad. That's 6 more cards. Salumga. A nice one-up here for Fabiano in his deck.
I mean, he can definitely play the card advantage game with Dan. Dan still has to be the aggressor in the matchup.
Yeah. Here's Thoughtseize. Time to see what you're working with. Ugin among the options. Slumgar, Disdainful Stroke, couple of lands. Ashiok as well. So some very nice cards here in Fabiano's hand.
Gonna need quite a few Thoughtseizes.
That's for sure. Does have a Hero's Downfall in hand. Dancing. What does Slumgar do?
Gerard with what appears to be the pre-release foil copy. Perhaps opened in a Soul Tie Seal deck. I actually think there's a reasonable chance.
Yeah. That's how he rolls. Perhaps it's time for Dan to cast this Tasker that's in his hand. Because he's got some work to do with catching up. Ugin bit the dust from the Thoughtseize, by the by. There is Tasker. Dan gonna sacrifice his his Windswept Heath.
And he's doing this now because I believe he wants to activate the Tasker and does not want him to be killed in response to him sacrificing the Windswept Heath if Dan were to wait.
It's Tasker activation. A couple of cards get turned over, Utter End among them. And Gerard gets to give him the option and give him the Siege Rhino back. Temple. Top card bottom. Pass it. There's an island. This is a Tasker. And that's what makes this card so powerful. When we get in the mid to late game, it's a 1-mana spell.
Yeah, especially in Gerard's deck.
Yeah.
It's a 1-mana spell that doesn't even interfere with all of his other delve cards because his graveyard is so flush.
However, tick-tock goes the clock. This player's got to get moving and grooving. Musser is at 10. Fabiano, a very healthy 17. And you see this from time to time when players do play so quickly. A little bit of confusion, but it looks like the board state's good to go. Slumgar does join the party. Now we go back Musser's way. Musser will draw a card. We know Siege Rhino's in hand. Saw him get that back last turn with Tassiger. Fabiano with no answer to the 4/5 legend just yet.
Dan just picking up an Elspeth here, which matches up extremely poorly with Slumgar.
Looks like he's going to go with Elspeth. Fabiano does not seem to mind. 3 more soldier tokens coming in. There is a land. Temple, leave the top card on top. We're going back Fabiano's way. Quickly draws a card. There's a swamp. Slumgar. Trigger will take care of all those soldier tokens.
And Dan can't block Tassiger on Tassiger.
Yeah.
Because it's also shrunk.
Yep. And Gerard going right towards Musser too with that attack. Doesn't care about Elspeth one bit, and who would when you have Slumgar in play?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Dan's threatening to make an emblem here, so.
A couple of cards turned over here with Tassiger. Dan gonna give him Satyr Wayfinder back. There's Ashiok. Courser, Obs on Charm, read the bones. Those are the cards that have been exiled. Musser will draw. Siege Rhino can keep him alive, but for how long?
Probably not even another turn here. You know, Gerard has any sort of removal spell. Maybe he gets him one more turn. But I doubt it.
Tasker going to turn over a couple of cards. Elspeth will go to hand. Yeah, and that's going to do it. Gerard Fabiano is going to win this match here over Dan Musser. 2-1 just in the nick of time. And for Fabiano, he is 12-1. First place in the tournament. We're going to see him later this evening.
Very cool stuff from Gerard this weekend. A lot of weird numbers in the deck list, but you can see what he's up to here, really maximizing the power of the Delve spells, filling up his graveyard at very little opportunity cost.